Okay, Harley, so I didn't read your introduction, so I wonder if you might want to share with us a little bit about your journey. Just share about how you got onto the fruitarian journey and your athletic journey, if you will.
Basically, as a child, would watch sports on TV, having the desire to have one day in my life be very fit and athletic and have a lot of energy. My reality as a child was I was very sick, always had a lot of asthma, in and out of hospital, always picked last on sports day. Just one of those kids that was like a little sick duckling, really, but had the desire one day to be fit and strong and healthy and just have abundant energy to ride my bike all day long and run marathons and stuff. So I had the goal as a kid, I had the vision. I just didn't have the strategy or the know-how, and that didn't come till I was about 24 years of age when I went on a vegan lifestyle and things started to shift. And then basically just got into social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. My main YouTube channel now has had over 50 million views. People upload my content, so the Durianrider message, it just gets smashed on YouTube daily, and just using social media to create positive change. We started our website 30bananasaday.com, which has become the largest, most popular raw foods and vegan website ever created on the internet, and today it's still cranking. My partner Freely, Banana Girl, about to release a book called The Banana Girl Diet, which we're predicting is going to be an Amazon bestseller, New York Times bestseller list, so we're going to push that very hard. We're both very passionate about helping people help themselves, getting the truth out there, preaching the minimalist lifestyle, not afraid to speak it as we see it, and just into having a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. So what diet are you talking about? Just so in case our listeners don't know about 30 bananas a day, I'd love for you to first start telling us what diet you ate growing up when you were sitting there dreaming about becoming athletic and a star in the athletic world. What kind of diet were you eating then, and what do you eat now, and what are you and Freely, your partner, promoting right now? What kind of diet?
Basically, Freely and myself ate a very similar diet, the standard Australian diet, which is lots of grass-fed dairy, grass-fed meats, fresh fish, bit of processed foods as well. Pretty much every animal product in Australia is pretty much grass-fed and wild fish. So people say, oh, the grass-fed stuff's very healthy, but it's not, because Freely and myself are evidence of that, and so is the obese Australian population. So we basically got raised in the sort of a semi-paleo diet, which is what pretty much everyone in Australia eats. Both made us sort of sick and, less vitalised. And then switched into a vegan diet, learned about raw foods in 2002. And we've eaten mostly raw food. I've eaten personally mostly raw food diet since then, with periods of eating 100% raw to the last few years of adding in a bit of McDougall style meals, a bit of high carb grains and sugars and stuff like that, just to complement when the fruit situation is getting a bit low. But we promote fruitarian lifestyle, basically promote a McDougall sort of high carb vegan thing as a backup plan, or as a bit of a hybrid thing, depending on where the person's at or what their goals are, where they live, what's their family situation, what's their economic situation. Basically, we're trying to give people the most realistic plan for them in their life at that moment, with options to expand on that. And that's just made us very healthy, very slim. Freely's lost over 40 pounds in this lifestyle, maybe a bit more, but she looks really great now. She feels great, which is more important, because it's one thing to look good, but if you don't feel good, you can't really have much fun with that body. Same with myself. I'm very lean, look like a Tour de France rider, but I'm not on drugs, but I just feel amazing. So that's the biggest thing, is just feeling. We want to feel good without having to do drugs. We want to feel good without the come downs, and that's what we're feeling now.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, feeling good is, maintaining your energetic vibration and keeping it nice and high, and which allows you to attract everything else that you want in your life that also is in that vibration, that
Bingo.
wonderful, high, joy-filled vibration, right? So you mentioned the truth. What do you mean by when you said you're spreading the truth and smashing the truth on YouTube? What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of marketing hype. There's a lot of bullshit, basically. A lot of sales talk, a lot of snake oilisms. So we just want to be objective and say, here's our blood test. This is what we look like with our shirt off or in a bikini. This is what we eat every day. Freely loves what I eat Wednesdays, so she documents what she eats. Because a lot of people out there, they say they eat this, but they actually eat that, which is sort of fine, but can be very confusing or misleading to their followers or fans or people observing what they're doing. So we just like to be as transparent as possible. Put up the blood test, put up our body fat percentages of what we look like, what we eat, what we look like first thing in the morning, how fast we can run a 5,000 meter, what's my watts per kilo on the bike. We just try and be as transparent as possible and challenge it, just get it out there, because there's so much confusion and delusion in the raw foods world and the health food world. We're trying to put the truth out there. Obviously, the truth for one person might be different for others, but we're just sharing our truth.
I see what you mean. Okay, so your truth. So what's happening with you guys, what your bodies look like, what you're eating every day. That's great, because that's a question that, I get asked all the time. What do you eat every single day? So what is this 30 bananas thing? Do you recommend that people do eat 30 bananas a day on some days?
Oh, definitely not. 30 bananas a day might not be enough for you, or it might be you don't like bananas. So 30 bananas a day represents around 3,000 calories, which is what we recommend people sort of have a bit of a poke at. Eat 3,000 calories a day from fruit and see what happens to your life. Do you have more energy to look after your kids better? Do you have more energy to run your business better? Do you have more energy to smash out YouTube videos? You might need more or less, but we give people a bit of a baseline there. Maybe 2,500 calories for women, 3,000 for men, but it depends. So we just say people, eat as much fruit as you want, eat as much carbohydrate as you want if you don't like fruits. Just smash in the calories and live hard and see what happens to your life. See what happens. If you want to build muscle, you got to train hard. You got to lift heavy weights. If you want to get toned and slim, have an amazing bikini physique, that ain't going to happen sitting on the couch. You actually got to get out there and tone the glutes, tone the stomach, tonify the arms and slim the thighs down. It ain't going to happen sitting on the couch. So, but most people don't have the energy to get out there the door and do it. Or if you want to have kids that have got a great fitness level or personality, you got to go out there and hang out with them. And that takes a lot of energy. And that energy is going to come from the carbohydrates that you eat. So we teach people just smash in a high amount of carbohydrate calories and live so hard, people think you're on drugs. People think I'm a cocaine addict. I've got so much energy and I'm so lean. Freely and myself, this is a true story. We walked down the street. We walked down the street one morning before the Gold Coast Marathon, which I ran. People, there was heroin junkies out walking around, and they stopped us and asked us if we could get some drugs because we look like heroin addicts.
Oh my goodness.
And you know what I mean? And we said, no, sorry, mate, we're off to...
Energy-wise.
Yeah, we're so lean, and we're like mid-30s. And it's very unusual for a couple to be mid-30s and this lean unless they're like Olympic athletes or heroin addicts or sort of fruitarian vegans. So it's amazing. Right. It's good fun.
So do you guys exercise a lot in order to maintain those physiques?
Well, if you want to be toned, you got to use your body. So we move our bodies daily, even if it's just cycling to the shops or cycling up the mountains or running around with the dog or walking at the park or having sex or whatever, just moving the body, dancing to music, just putting on some music and dancing for 5 minutes you're going crazy. Mm-hmm. Just moving the body. So the word exercise a lot. Some people will look at my training regime and go, that's insane, that's so much. Some people look at it and go, hang on, you only do a lot of exercise in January and the rest of the year you're pretty inactive. What's up with that? So exercise a lot. To be objective, we'd say we move our bodies at least 30 minutes a day at a level where you can talk comfortably. At least 30 minutes a day.
Right.
Doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it's more. But on average, it'd probably be 30 minutes a day we try and get of activity where you can talk comfortably, but you're outside and you're moving. That's a good starting point.
Yes. Yeah. And for our listeners who right now don't have a lot of energy and they're thinking, oh boy, moving sounds like a lot of work because a lot of people live that way, right, Harley, especially over here on our continent. And so, for those listeners, I would love to share in this moment that once you start eating a clean diet, and I know Freely talks about going on an island, which you clear your body a certain amount of time eating just bananas in order to just this high, this good high that Harley's talking about, once you do that, then you'll find you have so much energy that the word exercise doesn't even have a negative connotation, right? Right, Harley? You just start moving naturally. It becomes a part of your life. Like it's normal to move and dance and, and work out.
Correct. I mean, people are trying to get the bikini body without moving their body. It doesn't happen that way. I know plenty of people who eat a fruit diet and they lose a ton of weight, and then they put on a bikini, look in the mirror, and they send me a photo and say, Harley, why does my bum look like a pancake? I'm thin, but my bum looks like a pancake, and I've got cankles still. And I'm like, that's great that you've lost all the weight and you've gotten healthy, but you've got to move your bodies. You've got to move your body to tonify it. It ain't going to happen just laying around. I mean, you have to lay around to recover, but you've got to move as well. You've got to create the stimulus for your body to change its mitochondria, to change its muscle definition. So I can sit,
And did you... Oh, go ahead.
And by eating a lot of carbohydrate, you change your thyroid health. Your thyroid all of a sudden wants to get out there and go. You change your leptin balance. Instead of becoming all thrashed out your leptin levels become a lot healthier, and your body's inspired to actually move. Because when you're healthy, you want to move. You just get out the door. Just start with 5 minutes a day walking. If you're in a wheelchair, just get out the day for 5 minutes in your wheelchair, go in the block. If you live in a really steep, hilly area, that's a bonus. That's a bonus, because hills are your best friend. Just go easy. Go at a level where you're talking.
Who did you say, sorry?
Hills are your best friend.
Oh, who will?
Hills. Hills are the best friend.
Oh, like riding up hills. I got you.
Not sprinting up hills, not attacking the hill. Maybe later in a few years when you're fit you can do that, but just getting out there up the hill, making friends with the hill. The hill is the best thing for women's physiques. It's better than liposuction. It's better than tummy tucks. Hills are women's best friends. Not pills, hills.
Hills. Yes, I love that. Let's replace the pills with the hills. And it's funny you say that. When I was in the best shape of my life, I was running up the hills, and it wasn't hard for me. It was actually enjoyable. I mean, it was effort, and it was more for me. And I wonder if this is the same for you, Harley, because you did end up, breaking records athletically. You did travel from being that little boy, dreaming about it, to actually doing amazing things with your athletic life. And so I wonder, could you share with us what's that mindset? Because for me, a lot of it was just getting rid of my old thoughts when I was running up those hills and making it easy. It's just like, it was just a process of dissolving those old thoughts that I couldn't do this, that I'm not healthy enough, and only athletes can do this. Did you have that experience, and can you share any tips with us in that regard if you did?
The best records I broke were my personal records. My personal records were that's what it's all about. Set your own personal records and don't use drugs to achieve them. Pretty much all the world records today, all the well-known ones, on the Olympic level, they're just drug assisted. But we're talking about personal records here, which are the most important things for you. You're going to have periods of doubt where you doubt yourself, or you go out for a walk. Let's say you live in a household, right? No one's athletic, and you listen to this little radio show here today, and you're like, you know what? That banana boy, he's right. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to walk for 5 minutes or for 2 minutes. I'm just going to walk more minutes than I did yesterday. So you lace up your shoes, it's cold outside, it's raining, you put your umbrella on, you put your Gore-Tex jacket on, you get outside, and your family members or your spouse or your kids are going, what are you doing? It's raining outside. Are you stupid? You're going to exercise? You don't exercise. You're a fat slob. Get back inside, put the Hot Pockets in the microwave and turn on the Super Bowl. So you're going to encounter resistance, and you got to laugh at that. You go, you know what? That's the old me. This is the new me now. I don't accept no for an answer. I'm going to get outside. I'm going to move my body 5 minutes a day no matter what. And if I've got a broken leg, I'm just going to pick up some light weights and move my arms. If I'm in a wheelchair, I'm just going to crawl on the floor. I'm going to do something to move my body, to get my lymphatic system going for 5 minutes a day. So you've got to change your mentality. And it isn't going to come to you. You have to force it. Force it gently, if you can do that. But it's not about thrashing yourself. It's about getting outside and moving at a talking level so you can talk comfortably. and put on some positive mental tapes from like Tony Robbins or whoever, or some good music, and just get out there. Don't use caffeine. Do not use caffeine to motivate you to exercise. All that does is it thrashes your adrenals, and long term it's going to fry you. The amount of people I've seen who had amazing bikini bodies, and they got that way from using a lot of caffeine and phentermine and all these weight loss drugs. They got there, but they couldn't maintain it, and then their thyroid glands just popped, and they just blow out to like 80 kilos, 100 kilos. I've seen it a lot. I'm not a fan of using stimulants. Please, if you're going to use stimulants, use them for emergency situations only. You've got a sick child you got to look after all night. Yeah, for sure, smash down some cacao or coffee or whatever. Otherwise, do it full natural. You'll get better results long term. We want long term results. You don't want to get suckered in to that short term gains, because I'll tell you what, the faster you get the results, the faster you're going to lose them.
Okay, I like that. And I like what you said about making resistance and hills our friends, too. You know, make the resistance your friend. It's there. I almost see it like a slingshot sometimes. It's there to just catapult you to the next level and break through the barrier and go ahead. So can you share with us, Harley, I don't even know much about this, about your athletic journey. I had heard that you were riding beside Lance Armstrong, and I just want our listeners to know that you're speaking from actual experience and that you can, accomplish amazing things athletically, if you will.
Yeah, so basically, as a teenager, as a 17-year-old, right? As a 17-year-old, I didn't have enough energy to ride my bicycle 1 mile to school. I would stand there and wait 20 minutes for the bus before and after school to catch the bus, literally a mile to school. I actually went back and measured the distance with a GPS Garmin. It's a mile. All right, I'm 17 years old. I'm catching the bus a mile to school because I'm so tired I can't ride my bike there. Now I can run a mile in like 4:49 on the track, which is not super fast, but for a 36-year-old it's not too bad, and for someone who's had no real background in fitness, it's not too bad either. So 4:49, I used to spend 40 minutes a day on a school day waiting for the bus to get somewhere that now, age 36, I can run it in 4 minutes 49 seconds on the track. So that's where I'm coming from. I train with like some amazing teenage kids that are just so fit. Like, they're just incredibly fit. And I tell them, I say, man, when I was your age, I wouldn't even dream of doing what you're doing. You are so fit, it's insane. You're amongst the fittest teenagers on earth, literally. And I know that because I've trained with some of the fastest cyclists on the planet. Lance Armstrong, Contador, Cadell Evans. I've been out training with all these guys. I've even had meals with them, sat down and talked with them, asked them for tips and hints, harassed the heck out of them. Their coaches, their team doctors, everything. Just become obsessed about getting information that works. I'm not afraid to talk to strangers and ask questions. And I think that's a great gift to have, is ask questions. Don't be afraid. If people won't give you information, then ask someone else who will, and just process it. So I've become the person with a lot of energy. I'm age 36. Recently in January, just last month, I cycled 6,545 kilometers in the month, just to see how far I could ride in a month. And that was with over 60,000 meters of elevation. So it wasn't like I was doing laps in Florida.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of elevations. Over 60,000 meters, GPS verified, 6,545 kilometers. And I didn't use coffee or tea or stimulants to do that. It was just carbohydrate, vegan foods, mostly fruits. So that's my background, is coming from, I started at just, ground zero. I started at ground zero. I didn't have athletic parents that supported me and bought me expensive bikes, which is cool if you got it, but I didn't have that. I started at ground zero and worked my way up to where I am now with a high level of drug-free fitness. Being able to keep up with any professional cyclist in training for whatever distance.
Wow. That's amazing. And what did all of those athletes and those their trainers and their coaches and all of that, what did they say about the vegan diet? Is that where you learned some about becoming vegan, or?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of cyclists, because cycling's all about weight loss, right? You've got to be so skinny to fly up the mountain. I mean, the cyclists are the most obsessed athletes about their weight. Cyclists and runners and ballet dancers. You've got to be so slim. You've got to be basically clinically underweight with a super high lung capacity, aerobic capacity. So cyclists, even if they don't care about animals or their health, they're like, man, you are lean. You train less than us, Banana Boy, but you are as lean as us. There's something you're doing that works. You look like Chris Froome's brother. His Aussie brother, someone said recently on Pro Rider. So I went out training with Team Sky and that, and they just, these guys are open. They're like, what are you doing, man? Like, you're pretty lean. What do you eat? All these bananas. How does it work? What's to do with potassium? That's, so they're asking a lot of questions because they're like, if I can lose an extra kilo on the mountain on a 30-minute climb, that's an extra almost 30 seconds. So they're obsessed about weight. The bikes are trimmed down to the bare legal limit of weight categories. So they're really curious. And these days, with all the doping controls in cycling, because cycling is, it's riddled with drugs, just like every other professional sport is: running, baseball, swimming, soccer, NFL, whatever. But cycling's got a lot of testing, so a lot of athletes now, they're looking for what we call nutritional doping strategies, where it's totally legal, but if you can change your diet to get more energy and maybe lose the last 1 or 2 kilos, it gives you a bit of an edge. So they're all looking at the vegan diets, the fruit diets, and just but they don't talk about it publicly, because once you say, oh, I'm going to eat 30 bananas a day as a professional athlete, the media's going to slam you, And then you might not want to eat 30 bananas a day all the time. So then as soon as you're in the cafe eating something else, the media will get on there and go, oh, what happened to your banana diet? So a lot of these people do these diets behind closed doors, especially if they've got a professional athletic profile. But I see it, I see people, what they're eating without the training, and it's interesting. There's a lot of bananas getting eaten right now in professional cycling, let's just say that. And a lot of the riders are switching from dairy to soy milk, or dairy to soy milk or rice milk, because they want to lose a bit more weight. And the dairy just makes it that much harder, because the dairy contains a lot of hormones, even naturally occurring hormones that make the growth of the body excessive. So dairy is great if you want to get bigger, but otherwise, if you want to get slimmer, which most people do, dairy is one of the worst things you can eat. So switch it out to a fruit juice or rice milk or organic soy milk, low fat.
So I have some questions about food, the food that you're talking about, on behalf of our readers, or listeners, sorry, because, I've watched hundreds of your videos. I love your videos, and I've read a lot about the stuff, and I've experienced a lot of what you're talking about. But I wonder, would you share with us share with us in terms of how long these foods last and how much energy they give you and what they do to your bodies in terms of bananas, grains, and meat. Could you go through a few of those and just give us an overview on how they would affect performance in your view, and why you suggest eating bananas? Because sometimes in my mind, I think, how can you have an endurance race if you're eating bananas? I mean, how long would they actually last? I'm a runner, so I say racing, but, bike racing or whatever activity you do. So would you mind speaking to some of that for us, please?
My friends Jeanette and Alan, last year, Jeanette's 64, Alan's 68. They eat a raw foods diet, high carb, banana style, vegan diet for many years now. Jeanette was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she cured that with her diet. They fuel themselves on fruit, mostly bananas and dates. They ran a marathon a day last year around Australia, every single day. A marathon, for those who don't know, 26.2 miles or 42.2 kilometres. They ran that as a minimum every day last year with the little Garmin GPS watches.
Wow.
And they had a support car following them, handing them fruit and smoothies, etc. So it gives you energy. It gives you the fuel. When I say energy, the body's like a bit like a car, right? You got your battery in the car, and you got your fuel tank with your gasoline or your electricity, whatever your car's got these days. But let's say your car's running on gasoline. You got your battery in there, so the battery gives the car the energy to start up, but the gasoline gives it the fuel to keep going. So with the human body, the analogy is sleep gives you the energy. It recharges all your organs, that nerve energy, etc. And your carbohydrates and your fats, etc., that gives you the fuel to keep going. So you need both. You need food, you need your carbohydrates, and your sleep. So the more sleep you get, the more your organs and nerves and everything can work better. And the more carbohydrates you eat, the more stamina and fuel, or let's say energy, you're going to have throughout the day. I like to say it's stamina. to get things done. So sleep gives you the energy so you can focus. Carbohydrates, that's the fuel for your body to keep pumping on. Gives you the stamina for whatever you do. Stamina for your partner, stamina for your kids, stamina for your running. How far can you run on bananas? You can run as far as your knees will allow you. You can run till your legs snap from a stress fracture, which is a dangerous thing to do because a lot of people get in this lifestyle and they're like, man, I've got so much fuel. I'm going to sleep early. I've got so much energy, Harley. I've got so much stamina. I just want to run 100 miles a week. And I'm like, that's great if you've got a base doing that. But if you start out doing that, you're going to give yourself a stress fracture. And that happens so much on this lifestyle. So I warn people is that you're going to lose the weight and you're going to feel good. But if you start overtraining, you're going to give yourself a stress fracture. People go, oh, that's because it's the diet. It's lacking in calcium. It's like, if you talk with any Olympic running coach, the biggest danger